Hey everybody, Dave here. Hope you're having an awesome day. So today I want to show you how I took a Monster High doll and made this Lunkhead Bob action figure. So come on, let's do it. Alright, this is a Monster High doll that I found at a yard sale. She's definitely missing her head. But I think this is perfect because Lunkhead Bob has these long, skinny arms and long, skinny legs. So I think if I extend those out, it'll actually work really nice. I think I'm going to cut the torso here. And by cutting the torso, I think you'll see this in just a second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top half of the body and flip it around. And by flipping it around, once I snap this little body off here, yeah, there we go. I'll flip it. And what that's going to do is it's going to arch the back like he's kind of hunched over. I do need to get these arms out and flipped over. So I kind of pried and pulled at this thing for a little bit. I didn't want to bust it all up, but I don't mind if the body splits in half because that will allow me to swap the arms. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip the arms the other direction. And lucky for me, they fit perfectly. And then I'll put the front piece back on. And now this is going to give me that little hunch that Lunkhead Bob has, kind of with his long, skinny arms. I'm just dribbling off the chest there, so it'll be kind of like this nice, cool little hunchback. Now I'm going to end up with some holes in the back there, but that's okay because I'm actually going to put a shirt on the figure itself. Actually, my mom is going to make some clothes for me, so we'll show that a little bit later. Now the arm, in order to extend this out, I did a little measurement of where the thing plugs in, and then I'm going to cut it off right there and then extend that. You'll see here what I'm doing. I'm going to cut this piece off. I'm going to go hunt for that because it shot off. I'm going to put a little bit of glue, and I'm adding some polystyrene tubing to the upper portion of the arm. And then that little piece that I cut off, I saved that. And I'm going to add just a little tiny bit of glue onto the end of this polystyrene, and I'll glue that piece on, and that way I can kind of click the elbow joint back in once it has dried. So that's looking pretty good. Now, I wasn't sure if I needed to extend that forearm a little bit as well. I don't think it's quite long enough, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of do the same thing. I'm going to pull the hand off, and then I'm going to cut this exact same way I did the bicep and extend that with just a little piece of polystyrene, and I did this for both arms. Now to cut polystyrene tubing, you could just roll it and then you can score it and then just snap it. So whenever I'm working with super glue like this, I like to use this Instaset. It's a kicker and it allows your super glue to dry a lot faster. If you're doing a lot of building with super glue, get some of this kicker because it makes your life quite a bit easier. All right, with that extended out, that looks pretty cool. I kind of went back and forth on these hands. I felt like they were too small and a little too feminine for Lunkhead Bob, so I need to think about that. All right, just kind of doing a quick test fit and putting the body on, and I wanted to see kind of with the legs how the arms look, and I think those are going to be long enough. Now, my original Lunkhead Bob, his hands drag all the way on the ground, but I'm kind of looking at this as if it was like a live-action Lunkhead Bob figure. So, 3D printed just with the files that I have for Lunkhead Bob, a smaller version of his head, just to get the right scale for the body. So I will clean all these up. I'm going to hack the feet off here. Now, I saw it halfway through and then just took my knife and just snipped that. And then I will be able to put the legs in the shoes there. Now the legs are kind of oval shaped, so I am going to take my little sanding tool here and just sand down the front part and the back part just so it feels a little bit more round and fits that a little bit better. All right, I got both arms, and I need to figure out how to kind of fill in these gaps, and so I'm going to take some Magic Sculpt, the 2-part epoxy. I love this stuff. You don't have to bake in the oven. It's like a clay, but it hardens after maybe an hour or so, 2 hours. You get a little bit of working time with it. So I just kind of rolled some little flat sheets there, wrapped it around, gonna kind of trim off some excess stuff. And then what I'll do is just kind of start working it and kind of rolling it and then blending it. Now with this stuff, you can actually use just a little bit of water and you can kind of smooth it and blend it out. It's actually really pretty easy to work with. I have tried other epoxies. I haven't loved them. Magic Sculpt is kind of my go-to. So here I have a little bit of water on my finger and you can see it just smooths right out. I will do a little bit of sanding on this, but as a whole, it came out pretty clean. All right, it is time to prep these things. I have primed these already, and then I sprayed them white, a gloss white. And then I went ahead and sprayed Lunkhead Bob his color. He is a zombie skater kid, so he's kind of this greenish teal color. Got his hat, and this is looking pretty cool. I like the scale of this thing too. So I'm going to go ahead and I stuffed the inside with some tissue just so I didn't get paint buildup, because the more paint buildup you get, the harder your parts are to fit. So I like to just stuff little tissues or something in there so when I put everything together, it fits pretty nice. For the mouth, I paint the inside black. Now the teeth are really tight in there, so I'll get a little bit of black paint on the teeth, but that's okay because I'll paint those white at the very end. And then I paint the lips a little bit darker teal, just so it's kind of a tonal color there. Paint the backside, and then this should plug right into the mouth once it's all done. I'll get a little bit of white here. We'll touch up these teeth, and that should be good. For the shoes, I've painted them a couple different ways. I've masked all the white off, but I thought, you know what, these are so small, I'm going to go ahead and just freehand this black. It did take a couple coats just to cover the black, but putting on the base coat here, and then I'll go back and hit that 1 or 2 more times, and it should be good. The hands, I ended up using these action figure hands that I have, and I need to use magnets because I need to get the shirt on that my mom sewed for me. So I started with the one hand, but I realized I did the wrong hand, so I'm going to show you how I did this with the other hand. I snipped that off. I'm going to sand off that little excess there using my little reaming tool to get a hole started, and then I'll use my pin vise and get a couple of little holes going, and I kept building up until the drill bit was the exact same size as the magnet. Then I just pressed the magnet into there. Now I had drilled a hole into the arm and pushed the magnet in, but I kind of messed up because I didn't drill the hole far enough into the arm. So you'll see here as I push this in, it kind of stops right there, and you can see that gap. It drives me nuts. I can't believe I did that. I should have drilled a hole a little bit deeper into the arm. So I thought, well, maybe I can drill out the hand a little bit deeper, but the way it hits the ball socket, I wasn't really able to get all the distance that I needed. So I had this idea. I thought, okay, what if I take a hot soldering iron and I could heat that magnet up? Yikes. I don't like this idea. That didn't work out great. It almost worked, but there's still a little bit of a gap. I ended up actually just doing a little bit of Magic Sculpt to fill that gap. But as a whole, that looks pretty decent. All right. Just taking a little tiny bit of black, filling in the pupils there. And once I got that painted up, I will go ahead and take the mouth and push it all the way in and actually just kind of set it. So now that's clicked in and the hat is glued on. For the shoes, I'm adding just a tiny bit of silver around the laces where the grommets would be. And so I'll do that for the whole shoe. Now the legs, they were a little too feminine. The calves were too curvy, and when I put the pants on, I didn't love it, so I dremeled those off. And now I got everything ready to go for paint. So I'm going to go ahead and prime this and paint it. Now that it's all painted green, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of super glue, and I'm kind of just hitting all the little seams. I'm trying to be careful not to get super glue to ooze all over the place. But again, this is all going to be covered by a cloth shirt that my mom sewed for me. Now I thought if I'd have a little dowel coming through and then some 2-part epoxy, it will help kind of hold everything together while it's drying. But I kind of messed up. I didn't really have enough space, and it's shifted off to the side. So I kind of pulled that out, and I just used some toothpicks And I'll take this 2-part epoxy and I'll kind of just cram it into the gaps there and fill that all out. And again, this is going to be mostly hidden, so I'm not too worried about it. Taking a little bit of wire here, and I drilled a hole in the shoe, and then I have some polystyrene that went into the leg. That's going to work out perfect. Now I got to figure out a little neck piece, so I'm going to probably just use some tubing for that. But look at this posture, and then look at that, a little tech deck skateboard. That's going to be perfect.
Mama Wendy here again, having made the pattern out of a Walmart receipt. Sure hope I don't need that receipt for anything.
All right, I hope my mom didn't need that receipt. All right, so now that she's made the clothes for me, I have the magnetic hands. I'll be able to pop those off. I'll slide the shirt on here, and my mom did a great job with these clothes. It's really going to give a cool feel to this thing, just with the actual tactile cloth. So I'll put that on, and then the pants, I told her not to worry about putting a button or anything there because I'll just glue that once I got it on. That way I could kind of tighten it to exactly where I need it. So I just did one little dab of glue there, and then I'll do one more little dab of glue on the front of the fly right there, and then that should be perfect. Don't those pants look great? She did such a cool job. All right, I did use the little magnet technique that I've been using where I'll just put a magnet there and I'll put a magnet on the base, and that will help hold everything up. Then yeah, check this out. I've got a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Santa Cruz Tech Deck skateboard, a little Easter egg, so let's call this one done. All right, so I think he turned out pretty cool, and I would say this is more of like a live-action Lunkhead Bob if they made a movie or something. I am sticking with my traditional Lunkhead Bob, and if you don't know Lunkhead, check the link below. I have some videos on who he is and how I made him, but I think he turned out really cool. So let's do some turnaround shots of him, and as always, it's a great day to be a toy nerd. Have a great one.